Hi, it's Tyler Kettle, and this is a reading of In Space, No One Can Hear You Clean, still on May 25th, 2035. Followed Jessica down the ship's hallways as I desperately tried to finish my food. I'm sure that I left bits of burrito in my wake, knowing that I was going to have to clean it up later. In between bites, I thought I could try to engage her in conversation. I wondered if she had an opinion on the state of Canadian film, or what her favorite color is. I immediately dismissed the last one, as I knew that no adult would ever ask another adult what their favorite color is. That topic seems to be reserved for children. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Andrew? However, I don't think the topic really mattered. I think it was just I was just trying to talk to her so she might get to know me, so that she could start to like me, and I don't know, respect me? That's all I really want. I want her and the crew to be kind to me. Why is that too much to ask? It doesn't cost anything to be kind to someone, right? Seems like it doesn't matter if it's a spaceship or a city street on Earth. There are those people who favor assholeness over kindness. What sad lives they must lead. Jessica and I arrived at the bridge, the largest room on the ship. Screens covered the walls with readings of temperature, fuel, and a host of other things that I did not understand. To be fair, there is so much in this room that I don't understand, including the people. There's also a massive window of view of space and a command console, as Captain Steve calls it, which is really just a wheel of a space with a seat, some buttons, and more screens. Captain Steve, Marcus, and Luke, the science officer, were waiting at a long table in the middle of the room. Thank you for joining us, Captain Steve, an older man with a gray mustache and the body of an out of shape linebacker, said as Jessica and I joined them. Sorry, I sat, or rather held onto the seat next to Marcus, our onboard android. He helps navigation and anything else that Grun is. He has arms, legs, feet, and fingers like a human, except, he's a robot. One time I asked him how much he cost. He told me he has no idea. I like Marcus. He's nice to me. Is it weird that a robot is nicer to me than the people? You don't need to answer that, Andrew. Jessica took a seat closest to the others. Luke, a thin man with graying hair, sneered at me as he adjusted his horn-rimmed glasses. To me, he seems like he was the most nerdiest guy in high school, complete with pocket protector and no girlfriend. I bet that hasn't changed much. Now that we're all together, let's begin with our morning check-in. Steve reached into his pocket but found nothing there. Shit, one moment. He floated away, headed for the command console. I heard shifting metal as Marcus turned in my direction. What happened? He asked, blinking his blue robotic eyes. I just lost track of time, I answered. How do you lose track of time? It's not like an object, right? Like your car keys? Marcus questioned. Marcus, let's talk about this later, I said as Steve came back to the table, a slim stack of messages in one hand. In the other, he held a well folded piece of paper. Steve held up the letters. Firstly, Jessica and Matt, you a mail. He handed one to Jessica and tossed the other to me. I caught it and looked at it. I saw from Roxanne at the bottom. Shit. Back to from. There were paragraphs of text before that, but I swiftly put the letter in my pocket. Told myself that it was best to deal with that later. Now, time for the check-in. Steve unfolded the piece of paper. He seemed to be squinting as he held it closer to his face. Does he need glasses? Does anyone feel as if they are mentally unwell? Steve read off the page. Me, right here, I wanted to say. Everyone, including me, shook their heads. We do this every morning. Steve reads these questions off a page. We answer the same nods and yeses and nos. Then we go about our day. You would think that I have the page memorized by now, but I guess he cares about this as much as we do. I zoned out as Steve read out more of the questions. I think they had something to do with suicide or violence, or both. Who knows? Is anyone considering mutiny? Steve asked, which somehow brought me back into it. For a moment, my mind drifted, and I thought about what a mutiny would look like. Obviously, I would get rid of anyone but Marcus. Then two of us could fly about the galaxy. Maybe we could be like Han Solo and Chewbacca. Except, of course, Chewbacca would be a robot, and Han Solo would be, well, me. Do you think I could pull off Harrison Ford impression, Andrew? You could try to join us from your world, if you want to. Yeah, I don't blame you if you don't. I'm not exactly making space look good, right? Let my wander on this meeting idea and the other things for the next few minutes while making sure to say yes and nod my head at the right moments. Does anyone have anything they want to discuss? Steve placed a folded piece of paper in his pocket as I came back to reality. To discuss? Plenty. Let's see, we have the passive aggressive comments that get hurled at me daily. One's like, I thought you knew how to clean, and you're such a waste of space. To be fair, someone whispered the last one. I'll give you three guesses who, but I still heard it. Or you know how everyone seems to hate me for something that I had no control over. It wasn't like I wanted to come here. I had no choice. Well, I did, but this seemed like the least worst option. Now, not so much. Or how about I feel so lonely that my only friends are Marcus and you, Andrew? And to be honest, I don't even know if you're real or not. Does it even matter? Everyone shook their heads no to Steve's question. Great. Everyone's happy. Moving on. Steve smiled a little. Don't you think this is a waste of time, Andrew? This whole CSA ordered mental check-ins? Do they honestly believe that this sheet of paper works? Such bullshit. Now, some announcements. Considering that we had a slow start, we appear to be ahead of schedule. So considering that, is the device going to be ready to go? Luke? Steve trained his eyes on Luke. Luke coughed a little. Should be ready to go. I still have some tests to run, but it's looking good, he explained. Good, good. But I want that thing to be 100%, no, 200% ready to go. So use Jessica and Marcus if you haven't already, Steve said. Luke nodded. Now, HQ wanted me to tell you that of the 12 ships on this mission, 5 had already gone down. 2 we didn't even make it off the launching pad. I guess that's what happens when you use SpaceX. Anyway, HQ did not tell me what happened to the other 3, but I would presume rips, asteroids, or malfunctions are to blame. Now, I hope this news does not frighten any of you, but this should serve as a reminder to stay vigilant and ensure we are completing our duties to the T, as it's ever more important that we succeed. If we don't, well, obviously I don't need to tell you what happened. Steve looked around the table, clearly doing his darndest to get his point across. A few nods answered his stare. Good, good. And speaking of completing our duties to the T, Matt, I've been noticing that the storage room has one too many dust bunnies. Could we attend to that? Steve said to me. Yes, no problem, I answered, running a hand through my hair. Do that when I'm nervous. Excellent. You're all this, Steve started to say. Kind of Steve, if I may, I interrupted. What is it, Matt? Steve looked at me with a slight flaring of the nose. I haven't cleaned the storage room recently because I ran my hand through my hair as Luke stared at me with venom in his eyes. Yes, yes, what's the reason? Luke. Steve's nose flared again like a bowl. Luke told me to stay out of there because of the device, I said, surprising myself with a rare moment of courage. He did he? Luke's eyes fixated on Luke. I believed that it was best if the device remained untouched. I didn't want Matt to disturb it. Luke tried to avoid Steve's stare. You believe that Matt was going to disturb it? Steve looked over me. Matt, you know not to touch the device, right? Of course, I answered quickly. See? Luke, he knows. Let him clean, Steve ordered. Luke sent another look of anger in my direction. Inside, I was just happy to not be the only person in trouble. No one else has any concerns? Steve asked, staring at the table. No one said anything. Good. You're all dismissed. Steve turned away and went over to the command console. Everyone else, including me, fled in different directions. It was time to clean.